The inquiry this time is around gender identity and how we're conditioned around that. That's our big question. And then I'll just go along and drop in some thoughts, some words. I guess one of the first things we might do is just to touch in with our body. And that is a very complex situation for many of us. We may feel like we are in alignment with the gender that we were assigned at birth. We might feel like we're not at all. That might have been something we've been working with for decades. It might be something relatively new. And I think we've all here had experiences of feeling like we're part of something, feeling like we're not part of something. And probably all of us have also looked into, in different ways, different times, how do I know what gender I am? Like, where do I land in that? If we have a gender binary of this is male, this is female, there's a lot of characteristics. There's a lot of conditioning around that. Maybe we could start there. Notice your body and your breath and tune into what's going on inside. And then, how would you describe your gender? Where do you fit in terms of I define as male or masc leaning or female or woman or non binary? I don't identify with a gender. Let's look into that, see what comes forward. And a lot of what comes forward are associated memories, especially when we're looking into something like our identity and our conditioning. What are some of the elements that go into how you define yourself in terms of your gender? And notice as you're looking into that, is there any kind of a change in your breath, in the energy or sensations in your body, your muscle tension? What's going on in your body as you're just letting in that kind of big topic of how do I identify? And in particular, we might be looking at what did I learn about the identity of a boy, of a girl? What was my childhood conditioning around that? And a lot of this would depend on our age, what kind of environment we were in. What was some of your conditioning around that? And did you fit well with that? A boy should, or boys like, girls like this, girls don't do this. Were you a tomboy, a sissy? What's your childhood experience around that? How has your gender identity been really influenced by the culture, your family culture, as well as school and your community, and then the wider world as well? We're looking into how do I know What do I know about my gender based on our conditioning? And if we were to look at some of the experiences that we had where we fit or we didn't fit, probably the more traumatic experiences are the ones where we didn't fit. If I was told that girls don't do this or boys don't do this, how did I fit in with the overriding culture in my family, at school, my friends? And notice that there might be things coming up that are quite young around gender role conditioning, in which case it would have been probably more your family and school. And then as we get a bit older, we're more influenced by media, general culture. And just as a thought experiment, if you were free of gender conditioning at all, so if you were to not have had those role expectations of girls do this, boys do this, girls like to be pretty and in dresses, they don't like to put a worm on a fishing hook, those kinds of obvious gender identity, gender conditionings, what stands out for you? How would you have developed if you didn't know that girls like this and boys like that, and if there was no gender role conditioning? So if the binary didn't exist, we were all just people. And notice that part of what might be coming up is you might be rewriting some of your experience, maybe thinking of a time when you were fairly sharply corrected by a parent or at school with peers. What's the matter with you that you're doing that you're thinking that you're expressing that way? And if that hadn't happened, if there was no gender binary, how might you have developed? What freedom might you have that you didn't have being conditioned the way we are? And then if we were to place ourselves in our historical time, whatever it was that was happening as we were developing our sense of boy girl, so that can be from quite young. And then we move into puberty and sexual roles, which are very different for girls than for boys. And the way we see ourselves, the way we define ourselves. All of us in the queer community, in some ways, we didn't fit in with the general culture. As a thought experiment, again, what would it be like if you were really just exploring your gender identity now with the kind of environment that's out there now? It's 15, they came out as non binary, changed their pronouns, their name, and was very much supported in many ways. So, what if that had been our experience? That we could freely say, this is more how I feel about this. This is where I'm coming into alignment with my identity. And we would have support from other kids our age or other people our age, from family, the general culture. How were you shaped by your conditioning that happened? And what different shapes might we take if we were coming into that just right now with the climate that's here now? Continue to notice your body, your breath, and in particular, notice if there's anything uncomfortable. If you're feeling kind of antsy or edgy, if there's sensation in your body that maybe has a lot of associated memories that might be difficult, we could pull ourselves back a little bit from that. Really notice the sensations and energy. Maybe do some grounding. Open your eyes, look around. Notice that you're here. We're not actually in a situation right now. We're here doing an inquiry. You can let your eyes look for safety in the room, cues of safety. You might hold your own hands, feel that warmth and support. And then for the next couple of minutes, to let yourself roam. What happened during the inquiry? What comes to your mind as something that you might not have been aware of or something you have been aware of for a long time? What happened during the inquiry? And how do you feel? Are you excited? Distressed? Probably lots of different things going on.